Let's face facts. Pirke Avot is, on its surface, a pretty boring book. Now, people do pretty interesting things with it, and we've seen in Maine that very creative people can really make some of these sayings dance. But without the effort, without the work, Pirke Avot kind of just sits there. You never hear anyone say, man, I can't wait till Sphira rolls around again and we can really dive right into Pirke Avot. I can't wait. Just don't hear that. So on the surface, the mission of Pirke Avot is clear. And that's to reassure Jews that the rabbis are not just making stuff up. And we have two Torahs. We have the written and the oral Torah. The written one you could just check against the older copies. But how do you know that the oral Torah, the rabbinic Torah, is legitimate? Maybe the rabbis are just, calling their own thoughts and their own ideas Torah. I mean, how do you know that that's not happening? Is one long argument for anchoring rabbinic authority in the transmission from teacher to student, going all the way back to Sinai. Just as the written Torah goes back to Sinai, just as new Sifrei Torah are copied from older Sifrei Torah, the rabbis say we're not innovating, we're copying. We are reciting a chain of tradition that can be named, the individuals who can be named going back to the presentation of Torah to Am Yisrael at Sinai. Moshe kibil Torah mit Sinai, Sorah l'Yoshua, v'Yoshua l'Zkenim, u'Zkenim l'Nvi'im, u'Nvi'im mesoru ha'anshe Knesset ha'gedolah. Hem amaru shlosha devarim, hayu metunim badin, v'ha'amidu talmidim harbe, v'asu sayag l'Torah. Moses received the Torah from Sinai and transmitted it to Joshua, Joshua to the elders to the prophets, and the prophets to the men of the great assembly. They said three things: be patient in the administration of justice, raise many disciples, and make a fence for the Torah. And as often is his practice, Maimonides, in his introduction to his commentary on Pirke Avot, turns this table over and provides his alternative method for deciding whether or not we can trust the statements of the sages. And that's not by asking where they come from or who said it, but by asking, is it true, as far as we can tell, when we examine it with human reason and experience. And this is from Maimonides' commentary. Further, I deem it fit to preface the commentary on the respective halachot proper by some useful chapters from which the reader may glean certain basic principles, which may later serve as a key to what I'm going to say in the commentary. Know, however, that the ideas presented in these chapters and in the following commentary are not of my own invention. Neither did I think out the explanations contained therein, but I have gleaned them from the words of the wise occurring in the Midrashim, in the Talmud, and in other of their works, as well as from the words of the philosophers, ancient and recent, and also from the works of various authors, as one should accept the truth from whatever source it proceeds. The Hebrew translation of the Arabic, Kabel eta emet mimi she'omro. Just so we are clear, Maimonides is introducing a book, Pirke Avot, the whole point of which is to anchor the legitimacy of the oral law by naming a chain of authorities going back in time. He starts his introduction to this book by saying, I'm just not going to worry that much about who said what, as much as is what they said true, and how do we know? This opening move permits him to go far and wide to talk about more or less what he wants to in his commentary, ranging between metaphysics, medicine, and psychology. It's a view of Judaism that is open and far broader than one would think from just the surface play of rabbis and their sayings. Part of this is a simple, pure historical interest. A lot of understanding Judaism simply comes down to understanding the greatest man who ever lived. From Moses to Moses, there was indeed none like Moses, or after for that matter. But beyond the academic interest, there's the challenge to live the type of Judaism that Maimonides taught, one which accepted the rabbinic writings as our central cultural framework, but was always looking to learn from the very best that the surrounding culture has to offer. For Maimonides, this was the philosophical and scientific world of Islam. For us, it may be the creation of a new, vibrant Jewish culture in the state of Israel. Whatever it is, the new and greener commentaries on Pirke Avot are testament to this growth, this openness. Rabbi Yosef Kafak, the great translator and preserver of the Rambam's writings, said that for Maimonides, the scope of Torah learning was so broad, defined by this requirement in his introduction, to seek out and to accept the truth from wherever it is, that one can truly say from this point of view there is no such thing as secular learning. Or, as a certain sage said, and recorded it in a certain book, turn it over and over, for everything is in it. Shabbat Shalom from beautiful Bangor, Maine.